Thanks for tuning in to Directory Insights in 10 Minutes, brought to you by Guardians of the Directory. I'm your host, Craig Birch. As promised, the series is all about cutting through the noise. No fluff, no filler. Just practical insights for Active Directory and Entra ID admins who want to secure and manage their environments efficiently. So let's get into today's topic. Today we're exposing a risky and often ignored setting in AD, non-standard primary group ID values. If you never looked at them, now is the time. Every AD user has a primary group ID, and for about 99% of environments, this should be 513, the RID for domain users. Originally, this setting was created for POSIX and Max clients, legacy Unix capability via services for Unix, and LDAP-based systems that required a primary group reference. But guess what? That's deprecated. Modern clients don't need it, and anything other than 513 creates audit and security blind spots. When attackers abuse this, it becomes stealthy privilege escalation, and standard group membership checks, member of, won't catch it. So now let's look at PowerShell and see how we can find accounts with this non-standard primary group ID. Let's actually go in and take a look at this from an Active Directory perspective. So here you can see we have PowerShell open in the window. And if what we're doing is finding all user accounts with a primary group ID not equal to 513. It's a very simple PowerShell where we're just doing a get-AD user, filtering star. We're looking for properties primary group ID, and we're using the where object, and where primary group ID is not equal to 513. Only other account that should not have 513 as their primary group ID is the guest account, and that should be 514. So let's see if I have any in my environment that fall out of this standard. So let's go in and look at my environment. So as you can see, Adam has a primary group of 2024, and that's a non-standard primary group ID. We should expect 513 for this particular value. You can fix this safely with PowerShell. Here's how to reset the primary group ID for any outlier account. So let's go back to our Active Directory PowerShell. The first thing you want to do is make sure that the user is a member of domain user. So you're going to do an add-AD group member, the identity, and then put it to domain users, and then the members would be Al and Adam in this case. So let's grab that real quick. So again, I'm just going to put him in here, make sure he's a member of domain users. And then the next thing what we want to do is reset the primary group ID to 513. And we do that with a set-AD user, specify our identity here. Again, that's going to be Al and Adam. And then just we're doing it to replace at primary group ID equals 513. So let's go ahead and run this script. And now we went in and set that back to 513, and we can go back to the other script to verify that that's the case. So let me clear out the screen here. And let's rerun that first script that was checking for anybody that didn't have a 513 in our environment. And now we shouldn't see Al and Adam in our results. And as you can see, the only one that falls outside of that category is the guest account, which is that 514, and we mentioned that is perfectly fine. So leaving primary group ID set to something else, it can create invisible rights. It can allow attackers to bypass audit and security tooling. It creates risk without any real benefit. This isn't about convenience. It's also about closing a door that shouldn't be open. So to stay safe, you should baseline all primary group ID values and expect 513 only. You need to audit these changes regularly, especially any event ID 5136 for a primary group ID. You should lock down write access to the attribute as well with group delegation. And then additionally, you're going to want to educate your help desk not to change the primary group ID manually. There's rarely a valid reason for this change. Today I showed you how to use PowerShell to detect and remediate this often overlooked threat, non-standard primary group ID values in Active Directory. But there's a better way. With KOSoft Guardian's real-time threat detection, you can automatically detect and remediate this misconfiguration along with over 200 other threats across Active Directory, Entra ID, Microsoft 365, and Microsoft Intune. It's purpose-built for identity security, so you can stop threats before they become breaches. That's it for today's Directory Insights in 10 minutes. Keeping primary group ID is one of those low-effort, high-impact wins within AD security. Want more practical directory defense? Subscribe to Guardians of the Directory. Until next time, stay guarded, stay informed, and be the guardian of your directory.